jeez.
Oh, God.
Oh! Frank!
Fuck!
No!
And my last name Blick, so I'm picking the tool up. My stepper gon' brush him if I press the button. Too drippy to scuffle. The blick in the duffel, it came with a muzzle, so why would I touch?
My name's Eden, and this is my voice my first day on testosterone. This is my voice 4 weeks on testosterone. This is my voice 2 months on testosterone. This is my voice 3 months on testosterone. This is my voice 4 months on testosterone. This is my voice 5 months on testosterone. I'm actually about a week late to making this video, but it's still 5 months. Hi, my name's Eden, and this is my voice 6 months on testosterone. I can't believe it's been half a year already. That is crazy.
Neurodivergent people holding their bladder for hours while they finish up all their tasks first and finally letting themselves go to the bathroom as a reward.
Oh my gosh! She's bald! She's bald and she's torturing people who have hair!
And it's all too much for little Lando Norris. 21 years old. He just needs a bit of sleep.
He did have rather a shunt yesterday, didn't he?
He did.
I would imagine he...
I don't give a shit, dude! I don't give a shit, dude! I don't give a shit,
So we have girl math, we have boy math, we have dog math, and I saw my friends the Rollettes do wheelchair math the other day. So I thought I would chip in and just do standard disability math. All right, here we go. So the first one we have is one mobility aid / device that you need to function equals 15 different conversations with insurance to get them to cover it. Insurance sucks and they hate covering things that are necessities for disabled people. That's really fun and exciting. All right, the second one we have is one event equals 3 days of being in bed because of chronic pain. The fashion show that I just did, the next like 2 or 3 days after that were just spent in bed for me. My body just hates me. Anyways, one coffee date at 2 p.m. equals getting ready at 11 a.m. to get me and my service dog out the door on time. People don't realize that having a service dog is pretty much like having a toddler. There are days where he doesn't want to put his shoes on. It's really fun. So you don't just have to get yourself ready and showered and fed and whatever, you also have another living, breathing being to take care of and make sure their needs are met and make sure they're dressed and then make sure both of you get out the door on time. This one is for everyone who doesn't live where they grew up, but still goes back to visit parents, family, whatever. One trip back home equals 3 different doctor's appointments. And then the last one we have is one trip to run errands equals accounting for at least 10 different people who are going to stop to tell me how inspirational I am for going outside, making a 30-minute grocery store run a 2-hour outing. And there we have disability math.
I have a friend who sits at the corner lot selling pills to the girls when they cross the block. I told him he should quit that.
I was told when I get older all my fears would shrink, but now I'm insecure and I care what people think. My name's blurry face and I care what you think. My name's blurry.
Hi, so recently something happened in my central line that should never happen ever and landed me in the hospital twice. It got wet. Like, so wet water was dripping everywhere, my sweatshirt was soaked, and this was all at 4 a.m. in a cabin in the middle of the woods in Tennessee. First things first, I do a dressing change. My bio patch is soaking wet. It's literally a sponge. At this point, I'm concerned for sepsis because obviously this is a line straight to my heart. And I also just want to know, like, what happened? When I flushed my line, saline came out of the hole in my body where the line goes in, so obviously it's hospital time. Unfortunately, it was over an hour away, and of course they said my home doctor would be best. So here I am a week and a half later ready for surgery, and with my own dressings. Trying to get an IV is always eventful, but an ultrasound machine later and they got it. time to say goodbye to my first hickman and hello to my second. The placement went so smoothly, and I am like insanely happy to have my IV fluids back again. I'm kind of upset because my line is bruised and like looking awful, but I'm so happy to have access again.
Pookie? Pookie is missing.
Right now, I'm not depressed. I'm just having a little break from slaying. And then I'm gonna go back to slaying soon.
No ADHD, just autism. Really? I love it. How do you know I'm autistic? The ways that I am and the things that I do. You were playing Stardew Valley when I got home.
Do you think I'm an athlete?
What are you talking about?
Well, you know, I think I'm an athlete, and sometimes I feel like you guys don't see me that way.
What are your fashion icks?
The gothic, how they dress.
Why?
I feel like they just be doing too much and they be trying to look evil. Like, chill out. It's a nice world.
My fashion ick is confidence.
You don't like...
I don't care.
According to the government, you must not discriminate against disabled people at any stage of the recruitment process. Now let's read out some of the questions I was just asked in this questionnaire that I filled out for a job that I applied to. I always notice when people are upset. I frequently do things on impulse. I usually notice when I am boring people. Entering a room full of people makes me uncomfortable. People describe me as unconventional. Little things sometimes bother me a lot. I sometimes feel like I have special talents and abilities. It doesn't take me long to figure out what makes someone tick. It is hard for me to act naturally when I am with strangers. I'd rather work with facts than people. Now, some of these might be more disguised than others, but these are all things that I have identified as being traits that I would attribute to my ADHD or autism that would affect how I would answer those questions. Very specifically, I always notice when people are upset, and I usually notice when I am boring people. They are asking how good you are at reading other people, which is, for me, directly impacted by my autism. I frequently do things on impulse, and I often do things on the spur of the moment. For me, are both directly impacted by the fact I have ADHD. I don't think that's going to help with my employment. I don't think that they are asking these questions because they would love to have someone who can't tell when people are upset, or because they would love to have someone who can't tell when they're boring people. That seems to me like discrimination. Don't think I'm reading too much into it. I don't think that's okay. I think these are called like psychometric testing, and they seem quite common in job applications. How is this allowed?
You better stop your mouth.
tool up. My stepper gon' brush him if I press the button too drippy to scuffle. The blick in the duffel with
You're not autistic, you're just a little silly. And you cry when you have to leave the house, but that's unrelated.
Because it's iconic. And I love to do iconic shit.
People are always talking, but what happens when the talk isn't cheap? And it is what it is.
Like a feather with you off my mind. Falling through the memories like whatever, you're a waste of time. You say no's a miss, you act like a bitch. You fit every stereotype's in the pic. I feel so much lighter like a feather with you out my life. With you out my life. It feels so good not caring where you are tonight. And it feels so good not pretending to like the one you like. Slam the door, I ignore, I say no, 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 no. I got you blocked, excited to never talk. I'm so sorry for your loss.
And being trans and autistic is a heady mix, is it not? You are autistic and you are about to start low-dose masculinizing hormone therapy or full-dose masculinizing hormone therapy. Let me just give you my thoughts on some very specific things about transition that honestly are only becoming clear to me now that I'm several years into taking hormones regularly. The thing that I actually wanted to talk about was sensory stuff in relation to transition. It took a million years to decide that I was finally going to do it. I had reached a point where I was like, yep, whatever is going to happen, which will be all the things that happen when we take testosterone, even if you're taking finasteride like me, I was like, yep, if it happens, it happens. I'm ready to deal with whatever that is. And I know that it will probably be a little bit distressing when it starts because it's going to be different than what I was used to before. And there's absolutely no way to predict or soften that landing because it's simply going to be a different sensation in my body or on my body. And I'll just have to take it as it comes. And doing a low dose, I was able to kind of comfort myself by being like, look, the changes are gonna be slower than if I was taking a higher dose. And if I decide in those early months that it just feels like a bit too much for me, then I can stop and maybe some of those things will go back. The things that won't go back, there won't be a huge change and I'll probably adapt to it and it'll all be okay. That was what I told myself. That is exactly what I did, right? I went on a low dose of testosterone for 6 months. I was like, wow, this is great. But it started feeling like some of those changes were happening really quickly. I was like, whoa, I just need to pump the brakes. I wasn't doubting that I was doing what I needed to do. I wasn't second guessing that it felt really good to be doing testosterone, but I was like, these changes are happening really quickly and the best way I could describe it was I feel overwhelmed. And so I was like, great, I'm just gonna pause. My doctor said that was fine to do. That's what I'm gonna do. Took 6 months off and then I went back on my low dose of testosterone. I stayed on that low dose for about 8 months and then I was like, yeah, rock and roll. Really needed that time of having a slower onset and that pause even in order to make sense of what was confusing me and overwhelming me so much. Necessary. Okay, I lost my train of thought a bit, but what I was trying to get to is saying that it was the physical sensory sensations that accompanied the changes happening in my body and to my body as it related to low-dose testosterone that made me feel super overwhelmed. And even now, many years on, I still have ups and downs where I'm like, oh my God, it's all happening very quickly. Being autistic, I'm like hyper fixated and scrutinizing certain things about my body or my appearance where I'm like, is it changing? Is it changing? Is it changing? I'll feel like I have my finger on the pulse and then some days I'll wake up and I'll be like, wow, when did this happen? Even though really what's probably happening is that there are very gradual, small, slow changes happening and then one day you wake up and like there's a cumulative effect to the point where you're like, oh, it's different. And if you're autistic like me, sometimes the it's different feels very upsetting. And if it's your body that feels upsetting, let's just I feel strong autism crossovers with all of these physical changes that happen, whether it's your body temperature changing, the way that you smell changing, the way that your clothes fit changing, the way that your voice feels in your body as you speak changing. And some of it's really nice. Like I love the way that my new lower voice feels in my body because it buzzes. There's a resonance. It just makes me so happy. Basically now, several years on, I try to triage myself when I'm in these moments of like, something doesn't feel good, And instead of spiraling and going to chronically online discourse to discover if I am in fact actually just the worst trans person to ever exist on the face of the planet, I stop and I'm like, oh wait, is this an autism thing? A lot of times the answer is yes. In short, I think I would say be kind to yourself above everything else Don't forget that autism is part of the picture. Maybe that's like never a question for you, but it's always a question for me. I'm always like, oh, right, that's why it's hard. And let yourself be comfortable expanding and contracting in relation to what all the other needs in your body, mind, soul, and self are besides your gender identity, because you're a whole beautiful mix of things. Okay, the end. Bye.
I guess what I wanted was never for me. But if you're looking for something new, I know somebody that you could choose. What about me? What about me?
And he told me something I will never forget. He said, shit, I forgot what he said, but he basically, what he was getting at was that.
Fucking hell. Okay. This is, what 6 weeks after surgery looks like. So I'm from London in the UK, and I went to Malmesbury, who's in like the centre of London. I'm healing real good. This is still swollen, but I've got to like push the fluid out to the sides, and it will like dissipate my body somewhere. Yeah, I like how my scars look. Some parts you can't even see the incision, other parts you can, but it's been 6 weeks and shit takes time, do you know what I mean? Nipples survive, thank God. They're still pink in the middle because I had piercings, but again, over time, pigment will come back and it'll be nice and brown. Yeah, back to ordinary life. I use bio oil twice a day to massage them, but this is how you may look if you're black and kind of slim and want top surgery. There you are.
We need to talk about BEDMAS. You may have learned it under a different acronym, but basically it's a way to remember the order of operations, aka the order in which you have to solve and simplify things when there's lots of different operations going on. It's actually really misleading because division doesn't come before multiplication and addition doesn't come before subtraction. You may have even learned it as PEMDAS, where the multiplication comes first. Division is multiplication. Multiplying by 0.5 is the same as multiplying by a half, which is the same as dividing by 2. So if you see division and multiplication in the same line, you can just go left to right. Addition and subtraction are also the same. 5 minus 3 is the same as 5 plus -3, which is the same as -3 plus 5. Every subtraction problem can be thought of as an addition problem, just with negative numbers. With addition, you can always rearrange things to get the same answer. For instance, take 75 minus 92 plus 25 minus 8. It looks like a lot of math if you just go from left to right, but if you see it as addition with just negative numbers, you can rearrange it. What if we made it 75 plus 25 minus 92 minus 8? That's 100 minus 100, which equals 0.
What is it finna play? Wow!
Ha! You don't even know what you're asking me to confess.
If you thought taking tents away from people sleeping rough was bad, wait until you hear this. New laws are being introduced that will bring back the criminalisation of homelessness. If we don't stop this, people sleeping rough in England and Wales could be imprisoned or fined up to £2,500 just because they are homeless. We can't let this happen. This won't help people who are homeless and will just make it harder for them to get support. That's why we're in Westminster today with a petition for the UK government, signed by more than 10,000 people calling on them to drop these cruel plans. Last year, Parliament voted to get rid of the Vagrancy Act, the draconian law that criminalised homelessness. But here we are, a year and a half later, and the Vagrancy Act is still technically in force. And what's worse, the UK government is trying to replace it via the Criminal Justice Bill with new laws that are even more draconian. So people who are homeless could face fines for so-called nuisance rough sleeping. The bill says that someone can fall under this definition even if they haven't slept rough, but just look like they might be or are intending to. And as the bill stands, someone could be considered a nuisance if they are sleeping in a doorway or if they have excessive smell. This completely dehumanises those of us who are forced to sleep rough. We also know that people often sleep in doorways to seek some protection against the dangers of sleeping on the streets. This bill could criminalise people simply for trying to keep themselves safe. We're standing against these attempts to replicate the worst parts of the Vagrancy Act. Thank you to all of you who signed this petition. With your support, we're sending a clear message to the UK government. Drop these cruel and unnecessary plans. So please share this video if you believe that homelessness shouldn't be criminalised.
Did you know? 1981 was the year that...
Here is a PSA if you want to buy loop earplugs. Okay, these are like the things that block out noise if you're like autistic or something. I have them. I looked at the reviews. The reviews said they're good, but the case pops open. I was like, that won't happen to me. Felt the case, felt secure, okay? So I leave the case like hanged up like this in my room, hung up in my room. Anyway, go to open it to get my earpods out. It pops open, the earbuds fly out. These are £30, which is like a big deal for me. I don't have £30 to be spending on earplugs, but also I do because I'm going on holiday and I don't want to ruin the holiday for everyone because it's in a big city and I won't be able to cope with it without earplugs. Anyway, so go to get them. They fling out. One of them is hidden in my room. They're tiny and they're very clear. I cannot find this for the life of me. And I don't have £30, and now I'm very stressed because I need them, and I need them before I go on holiday because otherwise I know I won't be able to function and I'm gonna ruin it. Anyway, I wish I had listened to the reviews that were like, don't use the case, they're going to pop open and they're going to lose them. I thought it wouldn't happen to me. The case doesn't work. Can't tell you about the earplugs, I haven't had the chance to use them. Anyway, so please, please, please listen to me. Don't use the case, okay? PSA, wanted to get it out there, don't use the case.